Hello students, this is Mrs. Vincent, and I'm going to take a few minutes and kind of walk you through how to access the various database articles that will help you complete your research assignment. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is open a browser, and you can see I've already done that. And probably when you do that, the computer is going to open to the library homepage. So you're going to see a page that should look like this. If you look over on the left side of your screen, you're going to see some options, and the option that I need you to click on is the link that says Research Databases. Once you've clicked on Research Databases, this is the next screen that you will see. We are going to look at 3 potential database sources for your project: Opposing Viewpoints, SIRS, and eLibrary. So some of you might be wondering right now, okay, what's a research database? Why are we using these resources? Well, here's a couple of things to keep in mind. These databases are collections of magazine and newspaper articles, all right, and increasingly they also contain book resources that have been digitized. One of the reasons that we want you to use these resources for this assignment is that these are articles, this is information that has been published somewhere, which means it has gone through some sort of review and editorial process, so we know that we can consider it to be reliable information. All right, I'm sure that you all are very aware that anyone and everybody can post information to the internet. So while there is a lot of very valuable and useful information on the internet, there is also a lot of information that is irrelevant, that is just plain wrong, false information. So we always have to have a little more critical eye when we're using information from the internet, as opposed to these databases. Okay, the first database that I'm going to get you into is SIRS. So we're going to click on the icon here for SIRS Renaissance. And there's a couple of steps here to follow. We're kind of backdooring into a resource. There's a link right here that says Student Tools. We're going to click on the Student Tools link. And then we're going to see some tabs across the top of our screen. And we're going to click on the Topic Browse tab. From there, we're going to click on this Issues Researcher link. All right, and finally now I have been brought to my search box. The search term that I have found works the best for the topics that you guys, the topic that you're working on, the whole idea of students having access to computers or tablets or some sort of device in all of their classes, is educational technology. So I'm going to type educational technology into the search box, and then I'm going to click search. Alright, so this is my results screen. Alright, and you can see that there are different icons here that correspond to the different types of resources. So newspapers, magazines, viewpoints, which I kind of call opinion pieces, graphics, multimedia might mean some video resources, and then some web selections. So here are my magazines and newspaper sources, and as you can see, as I scroll my mouse over the title of an article, it gives me a summary of that article that I can kind of take a look at. So typically what I do when I come to my results screen is I kind of do a first look based on title. Obviously title does not always give you a good sense of what the article is about, but sometimes it can be a good starting point. So I'm kind of looking at these. Do tablets teach? iPads in the classroom, not a bust, but not yet a boon. Too much tech in classrooms might not argue what you want. I'm seeing this article that says technology in the classroom. It's not a matter of if, but when. That sounds promising to me in terms of what you folks are looking for, so I'm going to click on that link, which is actually going to take me to the article. Alright, so here's the article, and you might be going, oh no, that's way too long. I just can't possibly read all of that. Well, what I want you to notice is that right here there is a listen button. Alright, and if you click that listen button, the article will be read to you. Now it is a computer voice, so you do have to kind of accept that and deal with that. You can change the speed of the recording. It's going to load up and I don't want it to do that, so I'm going to stop it. Alright, but that is the read. Alright, you can also download an MP3, and here would be where you could adjust the settings. If you didn't want it to highlight your text, it's set for medium speed, but if that's too slow or too fast, you can also change that as well. So anyway, here's my article. Alright, so whether I'm listening or whether I'm reading it, when I start to look at the article, I keep in mind what type of information it is that I'm looking for. And we know from when you talked about evidence in class that evidence can be research studies, evidence can be statistics and data, evidence can be known facts, evidence can be people's experience with things. So I see some numbers here, so that's kind of catching my attention. Here it's talking about, it's middle school students, but that can be applicable to us as well, talking about how many use smartphones and how many use tablets. Alright, and they're not matched in the classroom. So it looks to me like it's talking about some funding issues. So they're talking about a gap. Here is a study. Alright. Here's the section about laptops and iPads. That kind of sounds promising. Okay, so for today's digital natives, which would be you guys, paper, pencils, and even textbooks are insufferably old school. Giving students a keyboard or touchpad is more likely to elicit a positive attitude. So, you're going to be arguing why students should have that. We're talking about a positive attitude. It goes on to talk about a Department of Ed study. Teachers universally agree that laptops and tablets have been shown to increase participation. Alright, take control of their learning. So I'm seeing some things here that look positive to me in terms of being helpful for the research that you guys are gathering. So let's say that you're back with you've worked with that article and are ready to look for another one. If you click on back to search results, it's going, whoops, I went too far. Let's see. I'm just going to click the back button. Now I'm back to my articles. Alright, so I can continue to look for some additional articles. The other thing that I want you to notice is that there's a C also here, and it says computer assisted instruction. That's suggested because that could be a related search term. So if I click on computer assisted instruction, now I'm going to be taken to the results list for that search. So I'm seeing one here that says smart devices make for smart kids. Okay, that sounds promising in terms of what you guys are searching. So I might look at that second article. Alright, so that's SIRS Research Searcher, and that's one of the sources that you're going to be using for this project. Alright, I'm going to click back on my open tab here that says Research Databases, and when I do, it's going to bring me back to that Research Database homepage. The second resource that I want us to look at is eLibrary. So it's this third icon in the first row. I'm going to click on eLibrary. Alright, and again, I'm going to stay with my search of educational technology. And wait for the results screen to appear. eLibrary is a little bit slower to process. Okay, you can see that the format of eLibrary is a little different here. First thing we're going to do right here, it says expand this research topic, so I'm going to click on that link. Alright, and here is a summary of educational technology that you might want to take a look at. And then what eLibrary does is it organizes some of the articles into three subtopics. So this classroom tools sounds promising for the topic that you guys are working on. So I'm going to click on this classroom tools link, and these are some articles that relate to classroom tools. And I'm seeing a couple of here that might be promising. Some schools now tell students to bring their own technology. BYOD is a lot of times how it's referred to, bring your own device. Technology for teaching. All right, so let's open this one about students bringing their own devices. Okay, so this is what an article looks like in eLibrary. Again, don't be daunted by the length, because what you're going to see here again is that same listen button, all right, with those same tools. So if I want to change the settings, if I wanted to download it, it is going to read this for me. All right. So, same kind of process. I'm kind of looking at this article and talking about schools, leave your cell phones and laptops at home. Talking here about they decided to let the students bring any device they had to use in class as teachers saw fit. And I'm seeing this would be kind of anecdotal evidence, a person's experience. So we've got the superintendent of schools here saying, but when students began bringing in their smartphones, laptops, and tablets, Collins said, not only did the world not come to an end, but it was also very productive. All right? Increasingly, educators are realizing it makes no sense to stop students from using the digital tools they use outside of school. And here they go on to talk about the future of learning. This looks like it's an expert speaking. All right. So we've got some information here that might help you build an argument for why students should be able to either be provided with these devices or bring their own devices. So I would continue to work my way through that article. When I was done with that article, I'm going to click on the back button. Okay. Now, what we did first is we clicked on that classroom tools and we looked specifically at articles related to that. The rest down here is a listing of additional articles that may be relevant that don't necessarily, fit into that categorization, and they just categorize a few for you. So I'm looking at harnessing information. Oh, that's international. Never mind. Maybe student and teacher views might give you some insight. Oh, let's see. What do we see? Here's some teacher concerns about implementation of one-to-one laptop initiative. That's what schools call it when they do provide all of their students with laptops or Chromebooks or iPads. It's called a one-to-one initiative, one device per each student. So that might be another interesting article for you to look at. Are you ready? Are you ready for technology? Using electronic textbooks might be one that might be interesting for you to look at. Let's see what else we see. Assistive technology, all right? I know all of you receive some support of some type of support services. And certainly there's an argument to be made for the ways in which technology can help you learn. So that might be another article that you want to look at as well. All right, so eLibrary, again, educational technology, classroom tools, and then you're exploring some of those articles that are in front of you. All right, so once again, for the last resource, I'm going to return back to that tab, Research Databases. I'm going to click on it, and our last database that we're going to go to is Opposing Viewpoints and Context, so I'm going to click on that. Opposing Viewpoints is all about providing kind of the pro and con of particular popular issues. So I'm going to click here where it says Browse Issues. I'm going to be brought to a page that shows me an alphabetical listing of all the topics covered in Opposing Viewpoints. And if I scroll down, I'm going to see Technology and Education. So that is the one I'm going to click on. And here's kind of how the results screen of this one is organized. It's different. Again, here's a view more that's going to give you kind of an overview of the topic, which might be useful to you to look at. Viewpoints. Viewpoints are those pro-con articles. All right. If I scroll down, magazine articles, newspaper articles, academic journals I would avoid. Those are written more for college students or for people studying and researching in that field. They're going to be a lot more difficult to read. So I would just stay away from those. Reference would be like reference books, looking in an encyclopedia or something like that. And then statistics are numbers and data, so they might be useful to you. So we're going to come back up to viewpoints for a minute. I'm going to show you how to get into that. I'm going to click on the link that says View All 41. Alright, and this is what my results screen is going to look like. So again, I'm going to kind of do a topic browse. And okay, a couple I see here that might be interesting. Students with disabilities benefit from digital text or digital books. Digital books are books that you would access with your laptop or your Chromebook or your iPad. So that might be one to look at. All right, how could this help? And as I'm looking at this article, one of the first things I notice is it refers to a 4th grade teacher. All right, just because they're talking about a 4th grade teacher does not mean that the information in this article can't apply to you as high schoolers. All right, because they're talking about a particular service, and they're talking about, you know, students who can't read traditional books falling behind, and they're talking about making books more accessible and how they did that. All right, so you might be able to find some things that, like here they're talking about the fact that with the iPads, the text can be read aloud, just like it can with these articles, and I forgot to show you that on here. And right here is the listen button in opposing viewpoints. All right, so it looks the same, it's just on the opposite side of the page. I forgot to show you that. So this might be an article that you can find some arguments in. Click on the back button to go back, and let's see if I see anything else. Apps can help special needs improve social skills might be interesting. Smartphones will benefit classroom learning. I know that you're thinking more about laptops or Chromebooks or iPads, but there still might be some arguments in the smartphone article that would apply to those devices as well. So a lot of research is taking what's in an article and then thinking about, you know, can I apply this to my situation? It might not exactly match, but how can I apply it? And let's see. All right, and then again you can click onto page 2 and look at some other articles. All right, I want to show you, go back to my topic page here. All right, if I wanted to view the magazines, I would click on All 490, and it's going to give me a list again of the magazines. All right, you can also link from the side here, and I want to show you statistics a second and give you something to think about with the statistics. Okay, so statistics are numbers. Remember, numbers and data is a really powerful thing to use when you're making an argument. And I see some things here about the number of instructional computers, schools lending laptops to students, instructional computers with internet access. But one of the things I'm noticing is that the dates are fairly old. All right, and that's a problem when you're trying to make an argument. So one of the things that I would suggest to you is I'm going to look at this statistic. I'm going to get it up on my screen because it's going to tell me like where it came from and what it's about. And in this instance, you might want to actually get online and do a Google search and see if you can find, you know, public schools that lent out handheld computers. Do a search for that and see if you can find more up-to-date information. All right, because you know it's out there. So has it been more, more updated? So even though I feel like these statistics are too old to use in my argument, it's giving me an idea of something that, hey, the internet might have those more up-to-date. All right? And again, it's giving you some other search ideas, computer-assisted instruction again, and you might want to follow that link and see what kind of articles that brings you to. And again, you can look at the viewpoints and you can look at the reference. All right, so that just kind of again gives you an overview that you're going to be using SIRS Renaissance, eLibrary, and opposing viewpoints to look for articles that will provide evidence to help you support your claim that students should be allowed to or should be provided computers, laptops, Chromebooks to use in the classroom. Hope this helps you get started with your research. Thanks.